So Routematch has been in existence since 1999. We're based here in Atlanta and have various other locations across the US and an office in Australia as well. We focus on passenger transportation technology. So we bring technology to various private organizations and public organizations to help them facilitate more efficient operations and provide executives and management with various business intelligence information. We have over 550 clients across the US and in Australia. And within our organization, we have around 40 professional services staff whose day-to-day job is focused on implementation. And that's of a total company size of just over 150 people. So we're extremely client-focused on delivering our solution set, which involves software and hardware to our customers. Since our inception, we've understood that we will only be as successful as the tools that we use on a day-to-day basis. So for over 8 years, we've been using the Salesforce platform. Two primary focuses initially on sales automation and analytics, providing our sales team with a pipeline visibility, being able to link that to marketing, etc. And then also our customer support organization using that functionality to enter cases when we call in. We have about 30 people in our customer support team who provide a help desk for all our customers 24/7. So those are the two main focuses that we initially had. We also use Salesforce as a tool for other things such as libraries and ideas as well. But we've been invested in Salesforce for a number of years, and from a PSO perspective, when I joined the company 3 years ago, we were using it very lightly to do just some very high-level project tracking. So from a perspective of taking our professional services team from where we were to where we want to be, we are running around 150 to 170 projects at any one time. Various different levels of complexity and revenue generation. They range from $50,000 projects, small projects, to multi-million-dollar projects. So we have a very wide range of projects, and we are a very high-velocity professional services organization. We have a pretty streamlined implementation methodology that's aimed at results for our customers. And it has a very simple kind of phases of initiation, design, build, education, and then deployment, and system acceptance. So the ability to manage that across 150 active projects, various different revenue streams, and most of the team actually out in the field proved to be a pretty difficult kind of nut to crack from a perspective of how do we bring ourselves into this century and how do we make it a world-class professional services team. So very similar to the results that Kimya was talking about earlier on, we ran the business of spreadsheets. So there were different types of spreadsheets, some client-facing, some internal-facing, held on a server that we could share, etc., but really limited from a perspective of the amount of time that we had to spend doing them. Then how do you take 140 active projects, look across 140 spreadsheets, and help kind of start looking at forecasting? So we're very sensitive to our pipeline and how quickly we can get projects going, resourcing them correctly, and that's very difficult when you've got 150 disparate spreadsheets and you're trying to figure out when things finish, etc. Also, with the heavy field activity, our people in the field trying to update spreadsheets, etc., proves a challenge as well. So difficult to resource, different to forecast, and difficult for our team to actually work with as well. So we were looking very similar to the kind of results you saw earlier on, but rather than looking at 2014, in 2012 we looked ahead and wanted to invest in a tool that would allow us to move forward and make ourselves more efficient. So we wanted to be able to continue to increase customer satisfaction with whatever this tool was going to be, improve our ability to manage via data that was easily accessible. We wanted everything to be very scalable for us, and we really wanted the team to be vested in the tool. So the team was frustrated with the kind of spreadsheet process, and they wanted a tool that they could use very easily in the field, could easily make sure that the project management office, if I was a project manager managing 7 projects in my portfolio, that I could look across all 7 and understand what the tasks were, if any were slipping behind, etc., and not have to go to 7 different spreadsheets. We're also looking for a solution that aligned ourselves with our Salesforce investment. So our sales team live in Salesforce, our customer support team live in Salesforce. We wanted the professional services team to live in Salesforce as well from a tool aspect, and thus we kind of built a requirements matrices of what we were looking for. And although not literally on that, we were also looking for a partner. So that led us to Configuro, although not necessarily led us to Configuro. We've done some initial work with Configuro as well, but the needs of what we were looking for from our requirements were met very well with the Configuro Pulse tool. So we were looking for flexibility. We were looking for something that was scalable. We wanted mobility with a team of 40 people out in the field. It had to be easy to use and easy to adopt, and we definitely wanted that partner aspect as well. So all of those boxes were ticked, and earlier this year we moved forward with the implementation of Pulse into our professional services organization. So here you show kind of one of my initial kind of favorite things of what Pulse gives us. So I'm sure a lot of you may be similar to where we were a year ago, where struggling with multiple spreadsheets, some projects, because of their complexity, meant that you had to create Microsoft project plans as well. I've used Microsoft projects for many, many years, and it has its challenges. The Configuro version of project, the Gantt chart view, we found a lot more intuitive and allows us to create templates that we can then very simply, and by simply I mean it takes 2 clicks of a button, copy to create brand new projects in a very, very easy methodology and a very quick methodology. Then the project manager can tailor to the exact need, and by just clicking or dragging one of these particular tasks, the waterfall effect is instantaneously. And actually, if you're showing that to a client, when a client says, oh, I'm sorry, I can't stick to this timeline, they can almost instantly on a webinar see the impact that their decision has on their project lifetime. So very easy tool, and we're saving nearly an hour a project just on the ability to use this tool and use the template functionality that Pulse has. Also, from a management perspective, I now have a tool where I can look across my estate of 150 active projects and see how my team is being utilized, which allows multiple things. One, I can look at kind of pinch points, see if I've got any bottlenecks from resources, maybe from a technical perspective or my education team. But also, I can start looking out and beginning to forecast a lot better. And I can provide my sales team with a lot more accurate data from a perspective of when I can kick projects off. So what you see in front of you is literally what we call the heat map, which is basically by resource what tasks they have associated to them. So the previous slide that you saw with the Gantt chart is task-based, rolled up to phases. If you extrapolate that across the 160 projects, all those tasks are assigned to somebody. That allows you to look at each individual and see what their utilization is. It also allows you to do some great nifty things from a perspective of I can break this up so I can see what my education team heat is. I can look at what my technical team's utilization is. So we can cut this data now numerous ways. It helps with forecasting for sales. We're also beginning to look at it from a perspective of when we think we should recruit people as well, looking into this data and seeing how that can happen. So excellent management tool to give you a bird's eye view of resource utilization, but across teams as well. We've also got to cut it because I have an office in Denver, so I can compare Denver to Atlanta, and we've started a nice little challenge between the 2 offices to build up some competition and some friendly rivalry as well. Previously, there's no way I could have done this via spreadsheets or a combination of project plans, whatever it might be. Here I have all of this data, one repository in one container, and it sits within Salesforce where we all live as well. The mobility aspect was also key to us. As I said, most of my team are out in the field at any given day out at the client site. So everyone with their smartphones and tablets can easily access Salesforce, go to Pulse, and kind of update things from a tablet perspective or their laptops. But then on the mobile phone, they can quite easily at the beginning of the day see tasks. We're beginning to move away from our legacy time entry system and put our time entry into Pulse as well. So at the end of the day, someone in the field can very quickly go in, update their tasks, update their time, they're done. So trying to remove what a lot of people in services kind of view as administration, but it's the administration that's actually key to how you run the business, how you view the data, and whether you trust the data. So now we have one place where we do this, and we're not asking our team to go to multiple applications. It's all in one container. We're trusting the data a lot more to allow us to plan the business and forecast the business. Also, from a reporting perspective, we're not only being able to look at resourcing, as I said before, but also obviously revenue. So a lot of Routematch business is actually fixed price. So some of the tasks you saw in the Gantt chart would lead to a phase completing, which would kick into an invoice milestone. So as we have the plans outlined, as project managers move things, because life happens and it's just a plan, it might be client related, it might be product related, it might be whatever related, we can see what those impacts have to our financial forecasts. So again, if you can imagine 150 projects, things move for each of those projects on a weekly basis. The project manager's just moving those Gantt lines and tasks around, and then I just run a single report, and by project and by region, by project type as well, I can see what my revenue forecast movement is. Very key to us with how closely linked I am with our finance team. We meet on a weekly basis, and rather than previously spending an hour and a half trying to make sense of multiple spreadsheets, now we're staring at 2 or 3 reports. We're trusting the data, and we're allowed to making better business decisions and better forecasting. So hopefully that's a good kind of concept of how we use the tool and why we use the tool. As we move forward as well, we have what we call our customer web portal, My Routematch, which allows our clients to get a lot of useful information and links in with our support desk. What we're moving forward with and working with Configuro is to provide some of that information I just showed that's project related. So not only the schedule, we also track all of the project actions on the Impulse, risks and issues in Pulse, and we're going to expose that information to our clients. So we're going to get our clients using our portal immediately as we're engaged, so they can access training information, but also during any active project they can log on and self-serve themselves, see what happens on schedules, where the issues are and actions are, because they'll own some of those as well. So getting away from the world of emailing spreadsheets and plans, and having everything accessible, self-serve for our client base. As I said, we piloted this in April and kind of full force using the product for the last kind of 4 to 5 months. So from a perspective of kind of immediate ROI, one of the key things is kind of the time spent previously looking across those multiple spreadsheets, multiple project plans, and looking at some information in Salesforce, having that all consolidated, obviously saving huge amounts of time for myself and other members of our management team on a weekly basis. So we have one tool now that all the team uses. I think that's increased morale, although not a kind of measurable number that I can give on that, but I feel that my team's morale has increased on the back of implementing Pulse. It allows me to kind of use that time to look at maybe some key operational metrics that I've always wanted to look at but knew I could probably never spend the time on, and also probably very importantly allow me to spend more time with my customers, making sure that at the granularity level I can have conversations with them and spend time with them, which previously I was using for kind of data gathering. We're having less instances of things falling through the cracks. I'm sure a lot of people who are in that spreadsheet world or whatever tool that they're using that's spread out and is not in a single container, things by just nature of the beast fall through the cracks. Having everything in one container and at a very granular level from a service perspective. So some of our projects will have kind of 400, 500 tasks associated with them. They're complex, multi-million-dollar hardware software implementations. So having everything in a single place, everything has an owner, it's very easy to see when things are getting behind schedule for the project managers and all the way up to me. So allows us to be more of a proactive service team than a reactive service team. And all of that kind of allows us now to package this as a competitive advantage. So in our particular marketplace, with services being a key when a client is selecting, we see this as something that differentiates us. So what we've kind of discussed today, we've packaged in a couple of pages and we've inserting into all of our RFP responses. So to us, it's a major selling point now that our services organization has this tool and can now and will be able to expose some of the benefits even to our customers so they can see some of the great tools that you have within the product.